It is Friday, April 19th, 2024. This is Asha Pit Live. I am Mark Sebastian, your only option. I'm joined by Leisha J. Leslie. In today's show, we're going to hit on all the earnings data that's hitting. We're going to talk about the geopolitical events that are currently happening. It's Expiration Friday. We're going to hit some charting with Leisha. We've got lots to talk about with the VIX and interest rates. We'll do our stock of the week, talk about a few stocks we like, and if we're lucky, we'll get a ride on Andrew's trading vehicle. So with that, let's dig in. Good morning, Leisha. Good to see you. Happy
Good
Friday.
morning.
You were missed last week. Everybody in chat was saying, "Where's Leisha? Where's Leisha? Where's
Oh,
the
that's
charts?"
sweet. That's very
So
sweet.
yes, you were missed. They said we need our charts. We need the queen. We need the queen of the candles. All right. So obviously it's been a interesting day and an interesting overnight. For those of you that haven't been paying attention, that have been living under some sort of, I don't know, cloud.
Or you went to bed early.
Yeah. Or if you went to bed really early, at the low, S&P futures were trading 49.60, which would have been down approximately 90 points.
Yep, 88, I think it was.
And which would have been about 2%. And over the course of the night, and this is where like not panicking when a news initially hit matters, we have just slowly and methodically rallied, and currently S&P futures are actually up 5 points. So we've had a 100-point swing in the S&P 500 futures overnight. And if you just looked at the stock market cash open means 9:30 when the New York Stock Exchange opens, you would think absolutely nothing happened. Leisha, what was your take on yesterday's overnight action, and does it have ramifications for today?
You would think so. I mean, it happened very quickly, and from what I read, Iran says they aren't going to do anything further. But there were also rumors of it hitting near a nuclear facility. I don't know. I don't trust the news. I don't care where you get it from anymore. So I think
except of course OP Live every Friday at 9:30 at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Where you hear it.
Yeah, except this news.
It's almost hard to believe that we're up on the day.
Especially in military action, you're never going to get the whole truth, right? They don't want you. They're going to reveal what they feel like they have to, and that's about it. All right. But my greater question is, like, overnight, did we hit any weird levels, or do we bounce off any key levels?
Yes.
You're right. What did you see in the overnight action? And because believe it or not, bottoms can't form overnight. They don't have to be during the day market.
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what we have going on here. As you can see, we hit the top of our pitchfork here and have rolled over. And look at that. Traded below the median line of the pitchfork, but we met the top of an old pitchfork, which is support, and bounced right off of there. Now, if we end the day like this is a very powerful bullish candle, the hammer.
Yeah.
And the longer that lower shadow is and the smaller the head of the hammer is, that is a very powerful bullish candle, saying this could be the end of this downturn. As always, though, when I recommend candles that are showing change in trend, wait for the confirmation. So your confirmation will be opening and trading higher on Monday morning. But yeah, if we end this day like this is a bullish end of the downturn.
Yeah, I mean,
not saying forever, obviously, but it could, we could get a bounce from here.
And I believe that the futures would have hit their 100-day moving average last night too, which is a level I've been watching. And obviously, the cash market wouldn't because it wasn't open, but futures are what we trade anyway. Uh, all right, so it is Expiration Friday, also, which is going to kind of interesting. But it's not a quarterly expiration, so it's not a quadruple witching expiration. It's what we would call a serial expiration. So there's no futures or anything like that matching up. It's just indexes and equities. But you still could see some, expiration can still bring some choppiness, wouldn't you say, Alicia?
Oh yeah, for sure. They don't have the excitement they used to, because they were the only
Yeah,
expiration, right? But
right.
yeah, it's still expiration. We still put some value on it.
Yeah, I guarantee they don't do this anymore. But I don't know if your firm did this, but they would buy us, they would buy us lunch after the close to try and encourage us to not leave the floor during the day because they wanted us to be there to not miss a single trade.
We'd have bagels in the morning. That was about it.
Yeah. Well, you weren't allowed to have food on the floor. They can have food on the floor now, but
Way back when, yeah, no food, no drinks. We used to
yes.
sneak vodka grapefruits though.
All right. We do have some other, a lot of earnings data that hit overnight. Netflix reported earnings, and this is another string of kind of tech names not doing well. Netflix is currently down 6%. Now that's still below what the market was guessing at, but it's down at 572.
Yeah.
That is a pretty nice move. That's going to put Netflix below its 50-day moving average. Its 100 is down at 550, and it's 200. The 200-day moving average on Netflix is 484. It's got another 100 points to
Wow.
drop.
Yeah, that looks like it comes in. Well, 508 is the top of my old pitchfork, but yeah, they said subscriptions were fine, but they're no longer going to tell us their subscription revenue or new subscribers in
Yeah,
the beginning next year. And that's what the market didn't like, from what I understand.
that is what the market didn't like. A couple other earnings out this morning. PG beats on the top line, short on revenue.
Nice
By the
little
way,
move.
I was at the gym yesterday, and they were interviewing a new trainer, and the dude looked straight up like he looked like it. I thought for a second it was him, the Old Spice towel guy. Folks, you know who I'm talking about. He's not Terry the other guy that's like, you know built. I mean, I was like, holy cow. And
Are we talking about Old Spice as in the
the
commercial, in a
deodorant,
deodorant
yeah.
commercial?
Yeah, there's like this manly man that they're like, there's like, I use Old Spice, and one of those types of guys. It's very tongue in cheek, but the guy looked exactly like him.
Don't know him. Don't remember him.
Here, it's
Did you tell him?
oh yeah, I said I love you. I love your commercials. He was like, "What?" I was like, "You're the Old Spice guy." Uh, this guy. That guy. I don't know if you remember him from TV. That guy.
I don't.
Yeah. Anyway, only because we're talking about P&G earnings. Really random. So PG down 2%. When I look at the earnings analysis, my guess is they were not pricing it a lot. They were pricing at about a 2.2% move. It's down 2%, so in line. And AXP is the other one. They reported earnings this morning. Currently, doesn't look like there's a lot of action. I think we're gonna have to wait for that one to open. AXP closed yesterday, 217 pre-market. It's trading basically unchanged. So the earnings still not looking great. You know, I want to actually bring on Andrew for actually I want to dig in on your charts, Leisha. You know, you already showed us SPX. The dog has been the triple Q, and the tail has been the S&P 500 on this selling. What's your take on the Qs?
I have to agree. So it looks like we had found a possible bounce on S&P. Qs, see, I have just a little bit of support just below here. 421. But I do have an interesting formation in NVIDIA. NVIDIA could possibly be ready to turn around here. I have it sitting on support, closed above the support with a very nice doji after this downtrend. So I would watch for NVIDIA. It's trading up a little bit this morning. I would watch for NVIDIA to trade higher today and possibly be the end of this little downtrend. And resistance comes in there right around 890, 898. So possible change in trend in NVIDIA, but we need the confirmation.
All right, and then the last one I want to hit before we bring Andrew on is every time Iran gets bombed, Bitcoin dives, which, by the way, is not suspect at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Bitcoin has also change in trend, bullish engulfing yesterday, and today we have follow through with the trading higher. So next stop would be 68,575 if it continues higher.
If it can continue higher. Speaking of higher, let's elevate the discussion even further, maybe out of shirtless Procter & Gamble spokespeople, and but dive a little bit more into the overall market with our good friend Andrew T. Giovinazzi, the Viking of volatility. Andrew, good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you too, Mark. That was quite an excellent four-way down a rabbit hole on Old Spice and Procter & Gamble.
My brother actually hired that guy. Did you know that?
I know he was. Yeah, he was a marketing guru.
Yeah,
there,
he
right?
ran Old Spice for like a good 3 years, and was the one that did the big turnaround with Old Spice. So he hired think of every famous ad campaign that they're still basically living off of. Those were all my brother's ideas. He's a smart guy.
They're definitely good. I like.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to go into. I like Old Spice, but anyway.
Yes. My proudest moment was during the Ice Bucket Challenge. I called him and said, "You've got to do something with one of your people with Old Spice, and the Ice Bucket Challenge." And he was like, "That's a really good idea." And it was the one and only time he took one of my terrible ideas and said, "Actually, that's a good idea," and did something with it.
So you're taking some credit.
I'd throw him out all these wonky marketing ideas. He'd be like, tell me more about that idea. And then, by the time I was done talking, I'd be like, maybe that's not such a good idea. Pro tip, if you want people to come to the realization their own idea is a bad idea, just ask them to tell you more about the idea and continue to question, and they'll figure it out themselves. All right. So, Andrew, we had this big geopolitical event last night. But
we did.
I've been arguing for the last week that is a ruse as to why the market is actually selling off. And I think it's selling off because earnings, and so far earnings look bad, and interest rates.
Right.
Leisha, with Andrew here, I want to take a look at the 10-year, which and the long bond, which both look like they're considering crack, could crack.
You got a little rally in bonds today on the geopolitical thing is never a positive, right? The fact that things can get messy is not a market. It's never been a market positive until there's a change in trajectory. Like, I don't know how many wars have we traded, Leisha, at least, since the late 80s. So it's never a positive until there's some kind of outcome change. Like whenever the US goes in or they declare some policy and they follow through, like right now, it all feels a little bit wishy to me. So I think that's why it's overall, I don't think it's causing the market weakness, but it does contribute. It's not a positive, right? So if you have no good news, like if earnings are poor and we're not going to get the rate cuts everybody thought we were going to get, again, I never knew why that was bullish in the first place. But for whatever reason, like where is the good news to propel stocks higher, except for the AI narrative that we had last year, right? So that was still, I mean, job growth is still there, right? We're still coming out of the whole pandemic thing. And I know it's hard to believe, but it's still happening. And you have, but the thing that was really making people, happy was the AI growth thing and having great earnings out of these stocks. And then we had ASML, not great earnings.
No.
Netflix, not really an AI stock, but kind of a tech bellwether.
I mean, the AI to show you they do use it because that's how they figure out what kind of content you want to look at when you log in. Right. That's why every time I'm like, sweet, Lauren's finishing up some show I don't want to watch. She finds a new show because it.
So, I mean, but the thing with the geopolitical thing is it can shoot vol hard, right? So, like you saw last night, you said we saw 4,900 or 49 and change for the mini
futures. Yeah, 49.60.
So, like that, that makes VIX go to 24, 25, 26 or 30, right? It can instantly pop things. So, I think that is hanging over the market, sort of Damocles type of thing. So we need the fact that Israel just bombed them. I think everybody was waiting for retaliation to happen. Now it's happened. So yeah, I do like Leisha's observation that this could at least start to put that issue to rest, although it takes more than a day or two generally for these things to play out. But
yes.
But anyway, that's where so I think it was a heavy factor. And I think at least from the market action this morning, I mean, price is your guide. The Q is down 37 cents.
Yeah.
That is not
SPY's down 10 cents.
Yeah, that is not a reaction where people are worried about the Mideast anymore. And I think it bolsters. I like Leisha's idea a lot because she has a lot of good ideas. But
the overnight high for VIX was 21.31.
Yep. That's
and
that's still not as high as it should be for as big a problem as it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that shows you that that maybe the I don't know that anybody ever thought these two nations were actually going to go to war. I mean, one, too much a lot of risk there,
right?
And two, I mean, I think everyone knows who wins that war, and it doesn't.
It's still messy.
It's messy.
Well,
but
it's messy. It's messy until it's actually a war, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's messy until all the uncertainty is what the market hates.
Yes.
Uncertainty is what it hates. Any kind of surprise. Once we know that, okay, they're going to be fighting, the market goes about its business.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
It's this back and forth stuff that it's all the wishiness is a problem, right?
Yes.
So, I agree, Leisha. I agree.
Yeah, but Andrew, to your point, earnings thus far this season, ASML, TSM, Netflix, all really not looking good. We don't have any other chips until Intel. I'm not sure Intel has the same effect on the chip market that like AMD will on the 30th.
Right.
A lot of the chip makers don't report until, you've got AMD, and then a lot of them aren't until mid to late May, right? NVIDIA's not until the 26th. That's the part that could be a little bit bumpy. Now, next week, we've got Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla. I think of the three, Microsoft is probably the one. I mean, it's the biggest company in the world. That's the one that's the most important. But I don't know that as big as that is that able to change the trend of the kind of this negative trend the market is in?
Well, don't you feel like you need some of those companies to make the news? Like, I can remember when the market was waiting for Apple earnings to be good, or,
Yeah.
I think always, like, the market is always looking, the next 12 months. And if a big company could still generate big dough, then it gets people excited again. I mean, look at Tesla. Everybody's worried about their earnings and not selling cars and stuff. And as soon as those expectations started turning a little negative, Tesla's down 40% this year.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not a great company. It's just the multiple compressions going from 70 to 35. Right now, where does it go from there? I don't know. But as long as people think the earnings are going to grow, the stocks are going to move higher. But right now, it's like we're definitely in that. We've had such a huge run up that we need great news to keep things going, because I don't see where the news is coming from right now anyway.
Speaking of run up, with the move in interest rates, with inflation remaining high, by the way, all right, everybody repeat after me. There will not be a rate cut in 2024.
Mark, we've been saying that all along here. Have we not?
Since when did we start?
Now everyone say that together. There will not be a rate cut in 2024. Thank you, Dave. So, I want to hit on bond. Gold is telling us, bonds are telling us that whoever is still out there pushing this is doing a great injustice to the American public and the investing public.
I agree. Like I said, we've been saying that all along here. How in the world can they?
Well, and then now Congress is going to give another $100 billion to to everybody that we don't have. It's just it's stupid upon stupid upon.
The deficit is all. The reason why things are high is because we're paying interest on our existing debt, and entitlements are out of control. Everything else is just whatever. It's all entitlements. That is the part that needs to be reformed.
It's all of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't spend this much money in 2020. The budget is up 40% since 2020.
We need to encourage people to start smoking again so they die earlier.
Oh, gee.
That's a joke. I do not mean that.
Yeah, I don't know where all the money's going. Well, how are they spend so much? But like, where does it go?
Well, I mean, it's because people are living longer. And so Social Security and Medicare are paying out to people that on their actuarial tables were supposed to be when they started this program, were supposed to be dead 20 years ago.
Well, I thought that is why for that. Didn't that fix everything?
What's amazing to me is how much money there truly is sloshing around. And if it were managed properly, oh my goodness, we would be golden. It's like there's that much money there to the.
Where does it go, Alicia?
Exactly.
All right. Well, before we go down any more spending rabbit hole, I do want to hit on our stock of the week, which Andrew, I wanted you to, this one was for you. I wanted us to do Robinhood because interesting, and my timing could not have been better. So Robinhood offers 24-hour trading in a bunch of really active ETFs, just like TD Ameritrade does. In the middle of the sell-off, they suddenly you couldn't trade anymore.
Yeah,
You're on camera, dude.
They literally turned off. They literally turned off. They literally turned off overnight trading in SPY last overnight. But
Really?
yeah, they did. But at the same time, I think there are some positive things that I hear about Hood. So to make the bull and bear case for Hood, Andrew's going to be the bull, I'm going to be the bear. And now that she's back, judge, jury, executioner, Leisha J. Leslie, Queen of the Candles, the yes, the judge of all things will make the verdict. So, Andrew, feel free to state your case.
Well, so the first case is Hood is finally making money. So they're generating, positive cash flow, all that kind of stuff. The second part is they're aggressively trying to go after deposits by doing some 1% matching and things like that. I'm assuming they know what they're doing with that as far as the dollars go. Trying to aggressively get assets. But I think a generation has grown up with Robinhood, and it's not going away. I started by selling puts in the stock a little while ago. I'm not as long as I was before, I have to be honest. I did shed some around the 19 level, but I would sell puts to buy more again, like 15, 14, something like that. I think it's going higher. I think it'll probably be a $30, $35 stock in a couple of years at the current trajectory. But again, them shutting down, I think one of their problems is still they're not really, the guys that started the firm really aren't traders. Usually like Thinkorswim, like when you think of Options Express, those businesses were started by guys that knew how to trade, that were floor traders actually. So they had a pretty good sense of how things work. And I think Robinhood still struggles with that to some degree. I think their marketing is pretty good, but I think some of their internals are not super good yet. So I'm not giving you your bear case, but I still think as a growing platform for, very low cost investing, low fee, I think it's just going to be around for a while. And I think it's going to keep growing. If not, it'll be acquired by somebody within, a couple of years.
Andrew, you're right. It will be acquired by somebody within a couple of years. But the issue is, what you have is a piece of technology that I think is really interesting. They've still not figured out how to make money in the stock market. They make their money on crypto. They don't make their money. They don't make their money on stocks and options. There is massive risk of PFOF being made illegal, as it probably should be, because it's straight up bribery. And you have people who don't know how, as you stated, don't understand markets. They understand technology. I don't think Robinhood's going away, but I can literally see the four majors, the five majors, circling this thing, waiting for them to really screw up so they can just, vulturize this thing, pick apart the assets they want, and dump this. So I do think they're going to take it over, but they're going to take it over for $12 a share.
Mark, I think real quickly you need to explain payment for order flow.
Oh.
Real quick.
Robinhood is free. Robinhood is free, all right, to trade stocks and options, except they won't let you trade SPX or XSP or VIX or anything like that. Why? Well, Robinhood makes money off of payment for order flow. So instead of, if I go on a broker and I want to buy a stock, I pay them a hundredth of a penny per share to buy the stock. Now, what Robinhood does instead of that is Robinhood gets paid by Citadel to direct all of your orders to Citadel. So Citadel gets a look at your order before the general market. So imagine you were selling a house and you put in an order to sell your house at $500,000. And instead of hitting the open market, so you go to your realtor and say, I want to sell my house for $500,000 at $500,000. Your realtor finds a buyer and sells it to that buyer at $500,000. Well, if it hit the open market, you might have gotten $550,000 because people would have been bidding against them. But your broker, your real estate broker, just arranged a direct private sale to somebody and got paid on both ends.
Yep.
Actually, it sounds
one of the
terrible
reasons
for a
we were all
broker, too.
squeezed out.
Actually, that sounds like a conflict of interest for real estate brokers too. Now that I think about it, kidding. I kid. But that is how payment for order flow is. That's the and brokers are allegedly don't do that because your real estate brokers don't do that because you're paying them to sell your house for you. So you're paying them. But you know what, Andrew, you know what I always do when I'm checking out housing, when I'm, do you like to do this? I like to look at houses online. I like to go on Zillow and look at houses. Anybody else like to do this? Let me know.
Constantly.
Yeah, but do you know what the part of the house I'm always making sure is up to code and I find and is well organized?
I don't, Mark. What part of the house are you looking for?
I'm looking at the garage. And do you want to know why?
Okay. Why?
It's where I store my vehicle.
Oh.
And what is the best, what does Andrew currently have parked in his garage that you're all going to get a ride on? It is Andrew's trading vehicle. Take it away, Andrew.
Yeah, Ruben, if you can show my screen first here. I wanted to, because we have all this geopolitical madness going on, I wanted to show VIX. And we're in kind of what I would call a curious state where at least, we had a 20, Mark said 21.5 print in the cash last night. So this green line is the VIX cash. And then if you've ever traded VIX options, all the options price off the future that is connected to the term. So the closest serial term is May 22. So all the May 22 options are pricing off the future. So right now that future is 1735, even though VIX cash is 1864. Now, the reason for this is forward volatility. It's another subject. But the reality is, if market conditions stay the same, meaning we get this choppiness, right? VIX should stay where it is or rise, the cash. The difference is all the options that you're going to trade, if you traded them today, are priced off a lower future price. So when VIX is in backwardation, I would call this a semi-backwardation right now, where the cash is over the futures. The calls and call spreads trade cheap, really cheap relative, because if the market condition again stays the same, those futures have to settle to the cash. So there's a slow upward pull, like gravity is going in reverse. So this future price is moving up to the cash price. So what that means is a lot of option trades are going to look relatively inexpensive. So they also make a very cheap hedge. So the kind of the misnomer for VIX is, even though it's relatively high, it's not 13 anymore, not 12 anymore, the actual option prices for a trade is relatively inexpensive. So you can pull up the trade that I have up that I gave you, Ruben. So what I have here, example, is a butterfly. I have these positions on. And what I like about them is once we go into backwardation, what it does is it allows me a trade that I can trade against. What I mean by that is these call butterflies cost about 90 cents. So by the 17, 27, 37, call butterfly, buy one, sell two, buy one. And I buy those contracts. I paid like 80 cents for them. I've been paying between 80 cents and $1. I did sell some of them out when they popped, but that's neither here nor there. What you have, though, is you have a trade that if the market condition continues, if vol continues to bid, if the market keeps selling off, you have a trade that actually has positive decay, positive time decay, but gaining value as VIX rises. So it's a very, very inexpensive way to like hedge a SPY long, hedge long somewhere else, or it gives you a vehicle to buy volatility puts against if we have a VIX spike, right? Because as time goes on, the value of your fly just expands. And what you can see from the picture there, and you go a couple weeks in, and your fly slowly gains money. So what I generally do is I'll take some of the money I think I might make once I'm gaining, right? And I'll start to look, I'll start to buy puts, maybe, VIX puts, depending on where things are trading. If I think things are going to turn around, similar to what Leisha was describing earlier today. But the flies can stay there and they'll hold their value. So even though you might not close your call flies for money, it allows you to buy some VIX puts if you think volatility is going to, fall apart and whatever this market activity is done. And then you sell your call flies out for whatever, but they're a good way to sort of hedge whatever you think is going to happen. And they're relatively inexpensive. Like I said, this call fly trading around $1, $1.10, although when VIX was 21 and the futures were a little higher, it was more expensive. But we'll see where it opens today. I do have these positions on. I haven't bought more VIX puts yet, mostly because the vol curve really hasn't come out of this backwardation yet. And I won't till it does. But anyway, so that is a way when you want to learn to trade a volatility product like the VIX, you have to understand how the futures work and how the futures work relative to the cash and the kind of opportunities they provide. So when you're in backwardation, generally call butterflies are a very, very inexpensive long VIX delta if you're looking for that kind of thing, which, sometimes I am. And that is my trading vehicle for today in this blizzard of a market.
It is a blizzard of a market. Excellent vehicle, Andrew. Thank you for walking us through the value of the VIX butterfly. All right. Well, we've got about 4 minutes left in the show. Leisha, we didn't get a look at gold and crude. And then I want to hit on everyone's market outlook for the rest of the day. And kind of get everyone's thoughts on, maybe what next week looks like. Leisha, what do you think of gold? Because it's been so strong.
The way gold has separated itself from the dollar, the rise in the dollar has not affected the rise in gold. And we are getting some long upper shadows here, which could be a little sign of a bearishness, but I still think gold is looking bullish. And I think 24.5, 24.40 could be in the cards and even higher maybe. On spot gold, and support comes in 23.43. But overall, I think it still looks bullish. We are getting a little long in the tooth on RSI, and MACD is trying to cross over. But I still think that it's a place everyone's still running to. Maybe until we decide if we are in a conflict there.
Yes. All right. So
crude.
Crude, which had a very volatile overnight.
It sure did. Look at the spike there. I think crude's trying to find a little bit of a bottom here, even though I don't really have, I have support a little bit below here. I have support below here at 80.5. Still looks to me like it's trying to find a bottom though. I think.
All right.
And on top of that, XLE, keep an eye on XLE. It is approaching a very serious support level here, right around 93, that goes back quite a distance in time. I would watch XLE around 93. If it holds 93, it'd be a buy there.
And there you have it. All right. Well, Leisha, what are your thoughts for trading today?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, today, it's hard to say. Anything can come out today, right? All I can say is if we maintain this candle and we open higher on Monday, we could see a little recovery.
All right.
As far
Andrew,
as on the day, hard to say. Could
Andrew,
go either way.
What are your thoughts?
Wow. This is a tough one because it's hard. Yeah. I don't know. I have to be honest. I think we're too close to 5,000 not to sniff it once. And I would be surprised if we made the highs of yesterday today. So I'm still like, I don't think any of the underlying news is very good. However, the fact that the Israeli thing, all this Middle East stuff feels like it's starting to move in another direction now. So that would be the only thing I think that actually drags the market slightly positive. But the reality is, until we have a red VIX Friday, it's hard for stocks to go up, and
it's expiration
like that today.
And it is expiration, which can be. Yep. So, Alicia, I do have an idea on where I think the market is going. Let me know if you think this is a terrible idea. Do you remember the Federal Reserve had their open market committee meeting on the 21st and initially sold off and then popped, and then the next day we had a massive gap open. We gap open about $60 and ended the day up 100.
That's right here.
The close on the 21st for the cash market was 49.81. And my thought would be, what if we were trying to fill that gap?
Oh, we have, we filled it on the Qs. We've definitely filled it on the Qs. On SPX, we're very close. We need to trade down to, what is it, 49.83 half.
49.80, yeah. We're real close.
49.83 half, yes. Here's the gap you're referring to.
Yes, my thought would be that would be a natural target, and that actually is not that far off the 100-day moving average either.
Bounce from there, create a hammer, and then yes, I like
and in
that
the
idea.
overnight market, we basically hit the 100 in the cat. If we'd have been open, we would have hit the 100 and bounced. So that's my thoughts today. I like the fact that if you're bullish, the fact that we're selling off pre-market, right? They've tried to get weak gap the last few days, and it's been sold. Folks, when you're trading in a bear market and we get a gap higher, that's a weak gap. So, I mean, like 0.5%, 0.2%, which is kind of where we got yesterday. That is not the time to jump in long. What you're probably looking for, what I'm looking for, is open down and then rally. So that's what I'm watching for today. Right now, as I'm speaking, NASDAQ's down about 0.3%. S&P futures are down about 6. Today, we got to see expiration of the indexes open this morning. So the first 15 minutes are going to be very, very choppy. I got to wait to see what happens there. And then I think decisions will be made probably around 10 a.m. My gut says, based on the overnight action, if interest rates do manage to stay positive today, we could end the day green. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Andrew, as always, wonderful to see you. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So for Andrew T. Giovinazzi, the Viking of volatility, and Leisha J. Leslie, the Queen of the Candlesticks, the Duchess of Doji, I am Mark Sebastian, your only option. This was Option Pit Live. Have a good one, everybody.
All opinions expressed by Trader Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Trader nor its affiliates and or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Trader nor its affiliates and or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Trader Inc. is the parent company of Trader Brokerage Inc. Trader Brokerage Inc. and Trader Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Trader Brokerage Inc. Trader Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Trader Inc., all rights reserved, member FINRA SIPC.